Ataraxia, by the way, on that Freya. That was a great pick for him. We know that he likes to play hunters that are not typically seen on the meta. Granted, he does really, really good on the Freya. This was no different. What was the impact he had in that game?
I think one of the biggest shining points for Ataraxia in this game was while he did fall slightly behind early on, PANDALIKE was able to come in very well with Sylvanus, and the team backup that Ataraxia was provided with really helped get the Freya online and through those awkward early stage game moments for him. And he was able to just basically pop off on the Freya. There was just no way to stop him, and they shut Zapman down, pretty much negating any kind of like map control and pressure that Eager was starting to slowly regain after they had that excellent T1 fight where Obey overstayed a bit. But Zapman was really like taken out in that game, I feel like.
Yeah, the Ulla versus Freya matchup, Ulla definitely dominates the early game, got great poke, and Freya doesn't have the sustain to handle it. But the problem is they didn't really punish Freya, they didn't get her behind. She gets to that mid game, she gets to that late game, she'll dominate the Ulla, and it was just lights out play from Ataraxia. But you got to give it to Zapman. He had some incredible plays. I mean, the crowd was hyped as... I mean, he was literally holding his team in the game at one point.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best hunters out there, you know, and if you were to look at a matchup and say Ataraxia, not to take anything away from him, obviously on this stage, fantastic hunter in his own right, but just Zapman, man. Like, yeah, Zapman does the Zapman things. Like, look at the plays he's making there. It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, that also, the casters mentioned it as well. That was definitely a little bit of Season 1 Zapman starting to shine through. And realistically, that was probably the only thing that I think that held Eager in that game for as long as they were, is because Zapman did semi-slow down that snowball that Obey had going on, but it didn't last very long, and they just overtook it in the end pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I do think maybe... like the North American scene might be undervaluing this Nike pick. We've seen a lot of Nike, and it is 5-0 now. I'm starting to get worried.
It's like at some point you have to take care of that Nike, or else Obey will punish you for it. But here we go. Draft phase begins again, and we're starting things off with a Ra and Odin ban on each side, guys.
Yeah, Obey going ahead and target banning out Best again with the Ra Zeus picks immediately off the table. But I'm happy to see this Nike ban coming out on the side of Eager. Twig has been having way too much fun on that god and way too much success. They might as well go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, we almost see a similar run back, but just with that Nike ban. I definitely like to see that. And now we get the excitement of finding, you know, what does CaptainTwig play now? 5 games of Nike. Hasn't even warmed up on any other characters.
I wouldn't be surprised to see CaptainTwig default more to like a Nemesis. That's something that he's played in the past that he's found a lot of consistency on as well for his team. And with Eager opting to go for this healer composition, more tanky, I think that it could be a pretty strong pickup for the side of Obey.
Yeah, we see the double flex picks coming out of Eager, as we discussed before. Will this be strong? Where will Terra go? Where will Guan go? And they've already kind of symbolized that they want this sustain. So it's up to Obey now to come up with a plan, how to counter the healing coming out of Eager. And we see a rat probably, I mean,
that could be a flex pick as well.
Yeah, that could go solo, that could go jungle. I mean, it could go anywhere.
We've seen variety. He's definitely been one to flex his god pool as well, and he's been doing an excellent job, in my opinion, pretty much picking up whatever fits the team's composition and what they're looking for, and just running away with it. He really knows how to capitalize on like his team synergy.
I like that Jingwei pick for Ataraxia. He was the guy who basically said, hey guys, Jingwei's really good, and then everyone starts using it, so.
It seems like he's copied my god pool. This is definitely, I did give him some private lessons. I told him Jingwei and Freya, this is what you need to pick, and he's getting away with it.
Yeah,
lucky guy.
Could have probably been at Worlds.
Yeah.
If only.
Don't rub it in. Don't rub it in. I mean, that's terrible. It's supposed to be on each other's side.
It's the bans. EU is used to that.
Indeed they are.
Ban says. We see a Janus pick, some global presence coming out of the mid lane from Team Eager here.
Yeah, I think that it's actually a really smart choice for Best. I mean, it's a complete 180 as well from that Anubis. You go from one of the most immobile characters to probably the most mobile character in the game for that mid lane role. But I really like the Janus pickup, considering that it should help out with the rest of Eager's draft. They're looking for a lot of mobility as well with the sustain. So for him to be able to prioritize whether he wants to disengage or engage with his team as a whole, I think could be really important for Eager finding a comeback in the second game.
Yeah, and I like the tier ban. This is... Eager definitely have analyzed the last game. They've been talking about it, and they've come up with the problems. Nike, tier, let's not let variety on his best character. Take it away from him. and we'll try and see what else he can play. And like I said, I want Divios on those warriors, those aggressive plays, so he can dominate the game.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And I really also like how they went ahead and took away the Poseidon. Even though they do have a lot of mobility coming out on the side of Eager, Poseidon can, like, I feel like PrettyPriMe was having a lot of control, especially in those smaller jungle areas with the Whirlpools and the Krakens that were coming out were just pretty devastating to Eager's lineup overall. So definitely a smart choice to go ahead and take that off the table.
And I mean, Taco, do you think we'll see the PrettyPriMe Vulcan?
We will probably see the PrettyPriMe Vulcan King, but I'm just kidding because knowing PrettyPriMe and the rest of Obey, they're probably going to want to do something a little bit spicier.
Oh, okay. So we saw what Zap could do on Anhur as well for Eager, so that was actually a pretty good pickup there as well. I mean, you look at Eager's bans, man, and they really just speak to, like, the problems that they dealt with last game where Tyr, Nike, and Poseidon really just bothered the crap out of him, and they had to get rid of that right away. Really respecting Obey and like what they brought to that table game one.
Yeah, and I also really like the Anhur pickup. I know a lot of ADCs tend to favor it when you're in a matchup against Jing because you can utilize your pillar in a way to where you can really slow down Jingwei's mobility in the laning phase, which makes it a bit easier for her to go ahead and escape. And I guess he doesn't want to be spicy today, but I mean, everybody's pretty excited either way to see a Vulcan.
I think Vulcan King's pretty spicy.
No, it is spicy. You throw out the spicy meatballs.
There you go. Right there. Done and done. And an Erlang Shen getting locked in as well. So not a bad draft there for Obey.
No, Obey's team composition, I would say that's going to be pretty problematic for Eager to deal with. It's going to be really hard because they have so much synchronization, and considering the synergy that Obey already share as a team, I'm sure that they're going to be able to combo their abilities to the point where it's going to be incredibly difficult for Eager to go ahead and match up with these team fights should Obey choose the early group and try and siege the game from early on. And
we see the final pick of Bastet here. Will Obey be able to handle that devastating djpernicus split push with the teleport?
All right, guys, real quick. Does Obey go up 2-0?
I think Obey might go up 2-0 here.
Oof.
This is just an EU 3-0, let's be honest.
Ooh, oh my goodness, some spice over here at the analyst desk. Casters, it's time for game number 2. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy and the analyst again. Obviously, this game's a little bit different than game 1, though, you two. I mean, we've got Eager going with Bastet, so we're going to see a little bit more of the potential backdoor shenanigans going on this time round. Will Obey be able to handle it, though?
I mean, I think that they're going to have trouble because they haven't seen it from djpernicus. I mean, very few have, and it's been so effective each and every time. And I really like the Bastet pick into a lot of their characters. Variety's going to try and get up into the sky, but you're going to have that dot on top of him. Vulcan, pretty immobile mage, so the meatball does help peel those cats off of him if he's running away. It's going to be tough for Obey to handle the global pressure from DJ's teleport and Best Janus.
And a big key there, Best Janus as well, going to allow them to get even further around. Not forgetting Terra's Blessing as well. That can also be used for the extra mobility to get around the map a lot. They're going to have to keep an eye on this Bastet the whole time.
I like Team Eager's comp, to be honest. They have the Anhur. That's when you know Zapman wants to win. That's when you know that's a salty run back. And that's what I do as well. When I pick Anhur, I'm like, you know what, dude? We just lost the game. We shouldn't have.
We saw a lot of Anhur from you at Super Regionals.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember that.
So it's the same thing with you as well. What's the matchup against Jingwei like for Anhur here? Because like, you can't really jump in on Jingwei, can you? Because she can just jump away.
Well, if you jump on a Jingwei and she uses her dash away, you can get the pillar stun if you time it perfectly. I think you need to have the impale on an insta-cast for that, though.
Okay, so you can impale, pillar stun, impale basically into it and try and get her during the dash.
And as far as hunters that I want my player who's feeling really into themselves right now, Anhur is one of the best.
Early invade from Eager. Let's have a listen in at the start of this game to Eager.
They're gonna kill me. Oh my god. I can't get away. I'm dead. I'm alive, but he stopped me from doing the best. I'm just gonna come. I'm gonna come with you guys. Just wait for me. Just wait for me. Just wait for me. It just got the other one.
Well, you saw a semi-invade is a bit different than last time round coming out from Eager, but in mid lane, PrettyPrime's in a bit of trouble already. Sanctuary used, it's going to buy him a second or two to get back to the tower, and he gets away very healthily indeed.
But we saw this last time. PrettyPrime uses Relic early on and wasn't punished for it. Eager's got to do a better job of recognizing that Sanctuary is on cooldown and making him pay.
I like that Eager's pickup because they know Eager's going to go for that invade on the left side, and he had an idea of where Pernicus might be. He might be coming behind him, and that was a great Aegis.
Well, start of the game, you saw exactly what happened there. Obey on the right-hand side did steal away Eager's speed buff and the blue. However, Obey lost their red buff and their balls on the left-hand side.
But I really like the adaptation from Obey, knowing exactly what Divios did last time and sending CaptainTwig to stop him from doing it yet again. This time the blue buff still up here. Divios not going to be able to snag one up. His has already been invaded, and he's not going to be able to go in and fight this.
So blue buff going to go with the way of Obey on the right-hand side there. Meanwhile, Ataraxia did go for full boots on a Jing way as well. Fumble, how do you feel about this?
I really like it on the Jing way. She has the passive to come back to lane if she gets poked out, and I think this is one of the best goes you could ever do it on.
Really? Okay. Well, we'll see how it works out for him as the back harpies have spawned right now. Keep it on the level differential between all the players in this game as well. As obviously with these rotations at the start, there's someone who always falls behind more than you'd expect.
And djpernicus just now hitting level 4. I expect it's going to be Divios who's pretty far behind in the solo lane. Remember, he didn't get a buff to start off the game, and you could see right near the bottom of the net worth, Variety sitting pretty far ahead of him. He's hit level 5, Divios still without that ult.
Well, that was CaptainTwig staying in the lane, trying to not get Divios, the pressure in the lane.
Well, Fire Elementals just got pinged out on the map there, so I believe that's Obey that recognized they're due to come up relatively soon, and that's why you can see CaptainTwig in the jungle now on his way around his Prime, and PANDALIKE are grouped in mid, waiting for the next wave of minions to be pushed in by Aror and TheBest.
Twig just trying to hit level 5 before these gremlins spawn. Not going to quite hit it, though he should be very, very close off of these fire elementals, and this is another great start for Obey. Even though they lost some of their buffs on the left-hand side, again, it was that control on the right. Eager giving up a little bit too much for their strategy.
And if anything, that Sanctuary at the start of the game from PrettyPrime in the mid lane kind of slowed the pace down from Eager ever so slightly. Eager, I felt like they had a smaller window of advantage there, but Vulcan, PrettyPrime played it so well.
Yeah, and it put Vulcan in this position where he needs to play more passive and wait until that comes back up. Otherwise, he will take too much poke from Best and Pernicus.
Well, again, has spawned over on the right-hand side. CaptainTwig, PANDALIKE is here, and PrettyPrime on the way too. Meanwhile, Variety has already forced Divios back to base for a quick recall for his boots there. So once again, Eager lose their speed.
djpernicus still on his left-hand side. Finally hits level 5 with a pull in the middle lane. Best uses Sanctuary. Aurora taunted back into the Vulcan ultimate, but not quite enough damage. But that team play from Obey standing out yet again, playing very well as a unit.
Did cause him to lose the purification on TheBest there on that middle lane. Meanwhile, right-hand side, Variety pressuring Divios here, trying to make sure that he can't go and solo that blue buff, even though he has the Wrath to help him do it.
He's just too low right now. Divios sitting about half HP, and because of the damage that Variety has, having finished off that Acorn, Divios is going to need a little bit of assistance, plus the fact that Variety is able to out-clear him so effectively. That's why you see this rotation from D.
Well, I expected those right-hand harpies to be looked at by both teams there, because obviously Eager has ultimates available. Obey used theirs in the mid lane there, but instead they're going to give them up and look to defend Divios' blue instead.
They need it. Divios hasn't gotten a blue buff yet this game. Divios does use his Wrath, able to pick it up, so now he's going to have a little bit of extra mana sustain as well as that cooldown to use his skills a little bit more frequently in lane.
And you can see that actually in the net worth on the left-hand side, how far behind Divios is compared to Ratatoskr.
And it's not only the fact that he's lost all these buffs, it's the fact that he's lost almost every wave under the tower. And that's best case scenario. When you're playing an assassin in the solo lane, you would love to be able to have this kind of lane dominance.
Yeah, currently right now, Obey doing a much better job of controlling the jungle on both sides of the map, Eager's side and their own as well. Is this what you would have expected coming into this one, Fumble?
Yeah, I feel like Obey have gone for that more NA strategy where they want to play aggressive, and it feels like Eager's not been playing as aggressive as they should with the Bastet, with the Divios ultimate, and with the Best ultimate.
And that can happen when you feel like you have this unbeatable strategy that no one is ready for, and then it just kind of falls flat on its face in game 1.
Yeah, when you have so much, I don't want to say cheese, but so many different picks in one team comp. We've done this before ourselves as well.
Oh, that man got the impale then, because actually Ataraxia decides to dash into that one. Zapman will be thanking him for that for now. It's a little bit of pressure, but it's not much, but round the back comes CaptainTwig.
Gonna find the pin. No, he can't. Just a little bit of damage, not even going for the knockup. But Ataraxia is at a huge advantage in this lane right now because taking a look at his items, you can see that he already has his Devourer gauntlets complete, and Zapman hasn't even started his.
Is he going to be going for the Devourer gauntlets though, do you expect here? Is it going to be more of a penetration style Anhur we expect from Bob?
He could go the Igfile into the Assy build, or he could just start with the late Devos.
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine, especially against the Jingwei. The Jingwei is generally going to have the pressure, the lane play instead of the pressure. But Anhur, when you're playing an Anhur, you want the Igfile, you want the early damage, and you want to have, you know, that fight potential, and it suits Zapman, definitely.
But against Ataraxia, who's known as one of the most passive players in lane, going for that early Igfile might not pay off as much.
Oh, Paul in mid lane on the best, does connect, and he's actually going to force his ultimate out of the best there. Round the back, CaptainTwig is trading with Zapman, and Twig is losing that trade for all intensive purposes. But now djpernicus is surrounded, will leap over the wall with a pounce as an ultimate comes out from Sylvanus into the sky's variety, and he'll clean up the cap. First blood, the way of Obey.
PANDALIKE not done yet, looking for the pull, not able to quite find it. CaptainTwig still pretty low, variety using that global ultimate to pick up that first blood. DJ just so far behind in the jungle right now. Only level 6, a 4-level differential between the two assassins.
And immediately, but even looking at the goal fury here, Obey are heading towards the speed buff once more of Eager. They're denying more from DJ every time they can.
I really like this decision from Obey. No reason to try and risk it at the gold fury, even though Eager has no ultimates available, and CaptainTwig did have the Wrath. They're taking away guaranteed farm from DJ. Yeah, you'd get the Gold Fury, but then DJ would be able to get some farm on the right-hand side.
Well, what I expected out of Eager here is they control the jungle with an Anhur and a Janus early, and I expected early Gold Furies, and mentioning that, that's what Eager were looking for right now. But Obey recognized it, PANDALIKE did, but PANDALIKE's gonna fall. Didn't realize he was there all alone, but maybe DJ's in trouble now because he's got no pounce.
Pounces down, nowhere to go for the jungler. Ataraxia able to pick him up 1 for 1, and that's in favor of Obey, the jungler for the support. But that being said, the support for Obey is worth more gold than DJ is at this point.
Well, he was, but now he probably won't be as much this time round.
Still level 8 compared to DJ's level 7.
I want to point out that Frezzy PANDALIKE was taunting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard it, but he was taunting and then he got picked. I feel like that's classic Frezzy.
Classic PANDALIKE in every scenario. He's supposed to get picked so they can get a killing response. And they got it on DJ too, as we said. So continue to shut down DJ. And the one thing by doing that, I guess this slows down the potential of the split push as well, aggro, from djpernicus.
The longer you have to wait until you hit level 12, the longer it's going to take for that teleport to come up for djpernicus, as well as that penetration that you need to be able to backdoor effectively.
One thing they do have, though, is a Jingwei with a passive to stop these backdoors. And they can, if Ataraxia goes for the opts for the Aegis, then he also has, you know, a chance to not take as much damage.
Stand there a little bit longer, weather the storm a little bit more.
Plus, Variety didn't go for the Wrath at level 1. He went for the teleport, and that's almost exclusively because of that split push potential from DJ.
And that teleport as well, and Variety's the reason that he managed to get first blood onto DJ in this game. Gold Fury being looked at right now, Aror knocked up, but tanky enough. Cavalry charge comes out in good pace there as Twig falls through a portal. Eager just looking to sit back mainly, but Variety's not looking that way at all.
Finds the stun directly into the Vulcan ultimate. PrettyPriMe from a distance picks up Aror.
That was a hot and spicy rotation from Variety, the scouser from England, and now Obey will look at the Gold Fury, and the Gold Fury drops as quick as it did in game 1 when Eager took it that time.
DJ takes the portal into trouble. He's getting very low, able to escape just barely. CaptainTwig on the front-hand side looking for Best, able to just escape. Ataraxia almost fell to the cats as well.
But the whole of Eager have to fall back. The Best was taken out by Twig. DJ was out on the left-hand side. And overall, Divios isn't going to do that much damage on a Terra. He's more there for control.
I want to point out that when Aror got chain CC'd, it was the Ratatoskr ult into the Ratatoskr stun, into the Erlang root and cripple, and he got completely wasted.
And it was just nothing he could do in there, so he's going to fall down. And once again, if you take out the healing, it makes it a little bit easier to bring down the team.
And it's not even the healing from Aror at this stage. They need his damage. Eager just doesn't have enough damage right now. Zapman, only level 11, just now finishing that Devourer's Gauntlets. He's getting those stacks up, but not quite enough power yet. And Janus isn't the greatest early game damage character, so Eager just doesn't have quite enough damage to punch through the tanky jungler in CaptainTwig, or even the assassin in the solo lane with the Breastplate of Valor.
When Ataraxia plays Jingwei, he knows his comfort. That's his premier god, and he knows he can fight. This is one of the main gods where he looks for those fights rather than playing his standard passive-aggressive style.
Passive-aggressive. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, he's like very far up in this lane right now. And one thing that we've seen out of Eager, when they generally do get behind in games, they look to share farm a little bit more and just hold off. But the problem is right now, Aggro, where is the farm on the map for them to really share?
Nowhere, because the buffs are continually being taken away. DJ has finally secured a speed buff for himself. We're 10 minutes in. That's the first time DJ's had that orange belt around his waist.
And the big difference you can definitely tell is on DJ with just a 1-level difference in the jungle, and then obviously Aror up against PandaLike with that 2-level difference there as well. So that experience will come into play the longer this game goes on if those gaps continue to grow.
And we can see right there, Aror is a pretty strong source of damage this early on, even with the full tank build. Divios taking a little bit of poke on this right-hand side of Variety, just playing so aggressively in this lane.
I feel like Team Eager doesn't have the AoE they needed. Last game also, they didn't have the sustain as well.
Yeah, well, into this guy who's forced Variety then, and the right sort of time, really, because there was a hot rotation coming in from Eager, 3 men strong over there. Obviously, with Janus too, could have ended up helping them get there a little bit quicker if need be, but against a Ratatoskr, it's very difficult to pin him down.
And you mentioned the Sanctuary pickup being key in this matchup, Funball, and in fact, Variety's picked one up for himself. No meditation quite yet, though we could see PandaLike go for that, though I expect a sprint to be the call. Very, very strong against Bastet with the multiple slows, also very good against Aror and the pillar from Zapman.
That was a classic PandaLike taunt. He knows he's feeling confident in
but
this game.
Why is he doing that there? Because he's not getting farm or anything. He's just stood there doing it. Is it just to get in the head?
But look at the map. Where else would he get farm? Every single buff camp is down in the jungle. So PandaLike's going to be there. He may as well be spamming VET.
And those two supports, as you can see, with power, Raw's built here. Talk about a Raw into the sky. He goes, rooted in place, dashes away. Variety collapses again. Variety has no ultimate this time round, though, so he's going to be a little bit more careful. And that's going to force the shell out of PandaLike.
PandaLike was just trying to get that ultimate out from Aror, I feel like, and wasn't able to do so. Very patient from Aror, knowing exactly how much
Obey's coming. There's 2 members in the jungle on the way over, and I don't think Eager saw it coming now, but Aror has. He's got on the horse. The Vulcan ult is good, and Divios is no more. Next on the list, they could look to Aror, but now Eager are back here too.
Now Aror still in trouble, like you mentioned. PandaLike able to find him. Cats going hard on the CaptainTwig, but he's tossing him down with those auto attacks. Variety dashes forward. The pullback for PandaLike. Goodbye, djpernicus.
And goodbye, tier 1 tower as well. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Ataraxia rotated round, pushed that in, so Zap couldn't come over, and now they can even look for a tier 2.
Eager is just on the back foot the entire set. They haven't been on the aggressive since the first wave of game 1 by proxy in between the towers.
Zapman versus the world at Worlds right now, and that world is Obey. The Impale hits Twig, but now he's got to be careful. He's drawing them in, though, because there's teleports there from Divios. Zapman, good Desert Fury from him as well. The Meatball's going to get absorbed by the Sanctuary, and now the reinforcements for Eager are back here.
Ataraxia in a ton of trouble still, but still has the airstrike. Not in time, though. Zapman finds it with the Impale.
And while they're doing the speed buff for Rice, he's trying to keep them all busy, and one backfire from Prime says, goodbye, Zap, we knew thee well.
Aror up onto the horse, looking at Twig. DJ's here as well, but only level 10, still has enough damage. Jungler for jungler.
But Variety's in the sky again, and he wants a bit more Divios this time round. Not going to be able to find it and force a retreat, but djpernicus, the rat's going to find the kitty cats, and now it's the rat that's in trouble.
But the 2 miss from DJ. The stun's going to find home, though. Through space and time, the dash in time. Variety can't heal. Oh,
he just hit off from downtown as well. Prime makes it at least a 1-for-1.
And then he just backs. Yeah, all right.
We talked about how far back both these mid-laners generally play, though, and when you hold the ult for the right time, how nice does that feel?
Oh, so good. That's a total feels good man moment for PrettyPriMe. And Variety knowing just exactly where to go, dashing towards the jungle to make sure that ult had enough distance instead of dashing towards his tower. Variety knew he was falling there and then went back in a little bit to use that flurry of acorns to group everyone around him. Again, it's just this team play that's standing out to me from Obey.
PrettyPriMe knew that Variety was gonna die there anyway, and he went for the spicy ultimate. It paid off. They got 1-for-1. That was a great play from PrettyPriMe.
I actually think Variety was involved in that too, because he actually went back into them and just did a little bit extra damage, tried to group them up a little bit more.
I think they must have called that in the comms, and you saw PrettyPriMe as well on the camera. He was like, yeah, come on, boys.
CaptainTwig finds the taunt onto Aror. PandaLike there as well. 2-man knock up.
Meatball as well. Aror falls back, but he'll stay standing for now. A little bit tankier this time round. around, but I do believe he used the shell there as well.
But the two we've been talking about, PrettyPriMe and Variety in the solo lane, look at the player damage charts. It's those two. PrettyPriMe has had an
PANDALIKE to be in trouble that Impale though. The team's going to watch himself. The cavalry charge is good, but a pin from CaptainTwig. And now Variety hits 3 on the back with a rattle. Now they're all grouped on the Best. He was trying to get involved. And the Best is looking for the kill on PANDALIKE. And meanwhile, PANDALIKE's taunting in his face.
There it is, Earthshaker, not quite enough damage to kill Zapman though. Twig on the chase, still one to go, but he catches the dash from Divios, uses the walls, immune to the knockup, stuns out CaptainTwig, but again, it's PANDALIKE being the bait for Obey. So tanky right now.
And you can see the Best in the bottom right there. His hand was just resting on his head. He's like, I don't know what we can do now, guys. Like, so far, so good. Obey, looking great.
Yeah, and Obey knows that Gold Fury was a free one.
Yep.
I can't believe that PANDALIKE didn't die there, and he was taunting.
Ooh, the impale. Zapman says, all right, dude, no, you're not getting in here.
Listen, Ataraxia, yeah, okay, you're doing well right now, but calm it down just for a second again. I'm still Zapman after all.
DJ just hasn't been able to have the same impact with the split push quite yet. In fact, he used the teleport in that last engagement, tried to go towards the middle tower whenever Robey was doing the Gold Fury, but still not quite enough damage, still hasn't finished that second penetration item.
So right now with the score differential, it's nearly 10,000, so it's over 10,000 gold, is it not? No, it's almost 10,000, I should say, between the two. 8,500 gold. The experience, a different story. That's even bigger between these two.
12,000
That's
experience.
huge.
It's huge, and look at it. Variety's 4 levels up on Divios. CaptainTwig is 3 levels up on DJ. PrettyPrime's 3 levels up on Best. Every single place, and then in the support role as well, you can see exactly how much that extra HP by leveling up PANDALIKE really paid off in that engagement.
It feels like PANDALIKE has not done as, djpernicus has not done as much as he should have. It feels like both this game and the last game has been kind of lackluster.
Well, he's really struggled so far in this one, it seems. There's now Obey starting to siege the tier 1 in the mid lane. Eager, 3 men groups up here, and now with Divios and Zap from the wings coming in, but CaptainTwig, he's got his eyes on Zap, making sure he ain't gonna get involved here.
Eager just can't do anything about this. Variety dashes forward, zoning away everyone. Shell is popped by PANDALIKE. Look at him, looking for it. The Vulcan
as well. He's gonna hit Divios, but only for half his health this time. Only half the health to the Guardian, it's okay. Meanwhile, left-hand side, Zapman once again having to take on Twig and Variety this time. He's forced back under the tower.
Now Variety in trouble in the jungle, completely surrounded, deleted by DJ. That's a big kill for DJ.
Said time, here we go, Eager's back in it, and then looking towards PrettyPriMe. He's running for his life, but that pillar has blocked him in place. Sanctuary to absorb some damage, still Aror's trying to chase him. The cats are already dead. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, Zapman's still alive tonight.
No more portal, not alive for very long. Zapman's sleeping now. CaptainTwig able to put him down.
And the Best almost for his life
Prime.
too. And Ataraxia will clean that up. He's 11-5 and Eager. They're trying to fight back into this every time here. Bumble, is that what you have to do sometimes? Just try and fight back in?
You have to. They got the pick on to the Ratatoskr, and then Eager went on to Obey, and Obey knew after that they can turn the fight.
Well, talking about going on to him, Ataraxia is not scared of anyone right now on this Jing way.
I don't mind that call from Eager at all. That is the best fight you're getting, down 9,000 gold at the 17-minute mark. You have to take some risks when you're down by this much experience and gold. That was the best opportunity they had.
Did you see how much they focus Zapman? They know that Zapman's the key to getting back into this game. He's level 16 compared to a level 18 Jing way. I think that's perfectly fine, because he's going to have the Terra ultimate, he's going to have the Guan Yu heals, and he has the Janus portals to move around.
And there's just not enough damage coming out from Best right now, and that's just because of the pick that he's gone for. Yes, Best's Janus is absolutely top tier, but this is not the composition that they're able to fight into the tankiness of Obey with.
And this Terra, again, it just doesn't feel like it's done much at all. And this Janus is also, I feel like it's done nothing as much as it should have. The early Soul Reaver, I'm not sure if I like that. I think they're going to opt to focus the Sylvanus.
Well, I think that the Best is itemizing into this Soul Reaver. Number one, he does it quite often. This is a build that they really like on Eager, but he just needs some damage that they're lacking.
Looks like it is going to be, indeed, a free fire giant. I don't think you can even look to contest this here. Prime will use the ultimate to secure as well, just to make sure. And immediately, Aror disengages away from the fight. And now Eager have to stand with only 3 towers remaining.
And you can see right there, Best's full combo. Portal into Unstable Vortex, still only doing less than 25% of Variety's health, and he's got the healing for PandaLike. Variety's already full health, and that was with the Soul Reaver proc as well.
No minions with them there as he took most of that tower down even without them, and no response from Eager. They were in position at the time to stop that one. The left-hand tier 1's almost a guaranteed. The tier 2, though, would you look to defend here if you are Eager, Fumble?
I would not look to defend the tier 1 and tier 2. Obey's already so far ahead. They're 12k down, and I feel like they should just go focus on the Phoenixes and try and get one pick by one pick.
This is just so shocking to me how Obey have come out absolutely swinging at Eager. I mean, most people thought that Eager was a favorite to come in and win this year
these
at World.
two teams, I mean, these two teams are so close on paper when you think about the history of where they came from this year. Obey started the year at the bottom for the most part. They made one roster change to the support, and since then, they've looked fantastic. They've beaten even you guys, you know, getting to Worlds here this time around, Fumble. That wasn't expected. This team has been put together from CaptainTwig. He was rated as being bad in the jungle. He was a weak link. He needed off. Variety. He was the worst solo laner in the world, right? And all of a sudden, they get put on the same team, and what happens? They may be going to the finals.
They look like they're about to go 2-0 up onto Eager in the semis. They'd be 1 win away. And this is just such a tough spot for Eager to be in because, like you said, Funball, you can't even defend your tier 2 towers. And we're at the 20-minute mark. Obey is just so far ahead.
When oddball teams when oddball members like Variety and CaptainTwig come together, sometimes they can, you know, they mesh.
Yeah.
And they bring out this amazing team, and they've showed us time and time again that they have the potential to win Worlds.
Oddball is a great word for Obey as a whole. I mean, you've got there's so many different personalities. PrettyPriMe is just relaxed and hanging out, just throwing Vulcan ultimates at max range like it's no big deal. Ataraxia is playing Chiron and just talking about how Poison Star should be built second item and all these weird sorts of ideas. Frezzy's taunting you, Variety's walling you off with Ymir and then also taunting you, and then Twig's just playing support junglers the entire game. It's a very weird dynamic, but it's clearly working.
What about 2 minutes of the fire gen has been consumed now, and we're going to end them at the Phoenixes finally in the middle one, being sieged down, and meanwhile left-hand side, Variety's keeping 3 members of Eager busy. They're going to renege the middle Phoenix here, are Eager, and now allows Obey in a more dominant position.
They're not even fighting it. Ataraxia has the tower damage this time, not on that Freya. You don't need to get a bunch of picks in order to siege a tower whenever you have a Jing with 5.5 items completed.
PandaLike going to walk in there, not going to find the pull he was looking for onto TheBest or onto djpernicus. Waiting for the minions to pour in. His Twig is in mid lane, trying to make sure those minions go. Great double wall coming out there from Divios, hitting onto 2. But Ataraxia gives as good as he gets. The Phoenix is now at half health.
And here comes the engagement. Sprint pops Aror onto Ataraxia, forces the purification. Variety up into the sky. Earthshaker coming down, not going to find a target.
But it does force Eager back, and that allows Obey into the base. They will take the Phoenix, as still Twig is cleaning the house on the backside, forcing the cat back, and the ultimate down 2. 2 Phoenixes, and over to the right-hand side, go Obey.
So disciplined there from CaptainTwig. DJ was 1 HP, lets him go right away, just sticking with the team.
Oh, over the wall comes DJ. Ataraxia in a bit of trouble there. The Sanctuary keeps him alive. Zap was nearly trying to clean that up space in time, doesn't find a home either. So still, Ataraxia alive, and now the bet. So DJ will fall as well.
Just so much body blocking. Look at the damage coming out there from the spicy meatball from PrettyPriMe. This right-hand Phoenix not going to stand for much longer. Obey looking absolutely dominant.
And they're looking to push in. The minions in mid lane are fire minions now. They want the Titan. They would love kills as well if they could get it. But right now, Obey are looking to put themselves just 1 game away from a final. 1 game away from facing either Energy or Luminosity. Europe could have 2 finalists. And Eager could be going home.
Unbelievable start to this series. I think Eager probably expected that maybe their first composition wouldn't work, and then they'll say, okay, let's go to our second composition, everything will be fine. Well, everything is not fine if you're on Eager right now. Obey has all the momentum in the world.
Okay, there's something wrong with the Hunters at Worlds, right? So the Hunters at Worlds that pretend to be sick, like Barry did, Ataraxia's doing it now. You just saw him cough on the screen. That's the secret.
Zap, start coughing.
I'm with it. If Zap starts coughing now, that could just turn it all around.
Sneeze or something.
Anyway, while the players get themselves ready for the next game, we'll hand it over to the analysts to talk all about how Obey cleaned up game 2.
Indeed, they did, Hindu Man. I mean, you know, at the end of that one, it really was just Eager looking for any small opportunity, especially toward the end there, you know, when they took that fight on mid, and they tried. They just did anything that they possibly could to get right back into the game. Guys, Obey's up 2-0. This is the squad that pretty much everyone wrote out in this competition, but yet here they are, and they might be going to the finals at the pace they're moving at, Taco.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's writing them off anymore, especially not after the performance and what they've been displaying this entire time at Worlds. And it's really just incredible to me because Sun mentioned it earlier, Obey isn't necessarily a team where you're not going to think of any of these players individually as being like top mechanically skilled players or just like dominant forces. But once they come together, their synergy is just what makes them such an incredible threat. And I think that Eager is really struggling trying to deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. You see it time and time again. The start of the game's fine for Team Eager, but as we kind of go into that mid game and we see Variety rotate, and as soon as they become 5 people, it's lights out for Eager. They just cannot handle the 5v5 synergy.
That too, and we also have to talk about the Vulcan King himself, PrettyPriMe. He had a pretty big game. Opportunities that look like Eager could capitalize and begin to build some momentum. PrettyPriMe was there to just shut it down each and every time. You know, again, Vulcan, look at that, a KDA of 8.0. Like, this guy was just shredding the entire game.
Yeah, every single ult was pretty much on point. He was constantly picking up a pick or two, even in, like you said, when it looked like an opportune time for Eager to try and, you know, maybe start making a comeback. His ults were just so devastating to Eager, and there's just no way for them to really be able to deal with it. And I think another important aspect of that game for Obey is if you look at their entire draft, they had the best CC in the game, and that being a knock up. Every single person on the side of Obey could knock up, and I mean, that's just perfect setup for a Vulcan.
Yeah, it's very hard to deal with, and when you have someone as good as PrettyPriMe who can really kind of predict the movements of the enemies so well, it's almost like he's a scientist. He's in the laboratory, he's working out where they're going to run to, and he throws out these max range ultimates that probably no other player can hit. And this is why he is world-renowned for this character, right?
Yeah, it was evident in that game, and another thing that Eager have to deal with. So in game 1, I mean, you know, the bans for Eager were, you know, trying to fill each other out, right? But game 2, bans came down and very focused, right? They got rid of Nike, they got rid of Tyr, they got rid of Poseidon. You're figuring like, okay, that Nike was a big reason why they won that game, and then they shift over to this one here, and it did not matter. One thing that they did not change from game 1 to 2 was Aror, or excuse me, Divios on the Terra in solo. I just don't see that playing out the way that they thought it would, and certainly not against Variety with the way that he's playing lights out here.
Yeah, I mean, Terra's a pick where it's always been really valued in the side of NA, and I mean, that's just a region that's been so accustomed to if Terra's open, you take it, especially for a team like Eager. They're accustomed to trying to flex pick it, but I agree with you entirely. It's definitely not working against Obey, and I feel almost as though Eager in that second game kind of continued to play against themselves. After they had such poor showing on it in that first game, I would have really liked to see Divios stray away from this sustained solo idea because he's not going to be able to get any sort of pressure, and I think that it's causing Pern to really struggle in this set because it's so difficult as a jungler to try and have any sort of map pressure when your solo laner is just losing the lane the entire time and getting invaded and everything like that, because it's in the back of his mind, that threat and that worry, but he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. This is the problem with the Terra solo pick. Like you said, it's that pressure. He's getting pushed under his tower, and this is allowing them to kind of collapse onto the djpernicus, and he's not really playing strong junglers to deal with collapse, right? We don't think, if we're going to get collapse, let's pick Bastet. That's not a solid pick there. So I really need them to kind of stray away from that. Let's get Divios on the Warrior this game. Let's get some more comfortable picks, and let's play the Team Eager play style that they're so well known for. On top of that, we've got to give credit to PandaLike or Mana-like or Frezzy, whatever he's going by these days, for his just incredible play. Both sets, Sylvanus pulls time and time again. This is the best I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, he has just been phenomenal, and